We want to now look at renaming variables in Stata. So let's first look at how do we rename a single variable, and then we look at how do we rename multiple variables at the same time. So if you want to rename a single variable, it's very simple. You just do rename. You write your old variable name, and then you write your new variable name. Let's look at an example. Say we have this data set, CTI plus D. Right, in this data set, if we look at it, so we have a variable make, right? So I want to rename this variable so I want to rename it as make model, right? So I'm going to write rename. I'm going to write the old variable name, which is make, and then I'm going to write the new name I want to specify, which is make model. So when I do this, so we can see the variable name has been renamed. Initially we had make here, now we have make underscore model. What if we want to rename multiple variables at the same time? Instead of running the rename command on each separately, okay, we can just we can do it in one line. How can we do it in a one-line code? We'll write rename. Then in parentheses, we're going to write all of our old variable names with spaces in between. Then in another set of parentheses, we're going to write the new variable names with spaces in between. Right, so over here, like if we do the same example, right, so we have two more variables here. We can see rep 78 and trunk. Say we want to rename them. One option is that you run the rename command on each separately, right? You do rename, you do rep 78, then you write the new name, then you do another line of code, rename trunk, you write the new variable name. A better one line code for this could be instead of writing like the code two times, you can just do one code where you can do rename. You write your old variable names with spaces in between them. So in parentheses, we have rep 78 trunk. And then you write the new names with spaces between them in a new set of parentheses. Just be careful that if rep 78 appears in the first set of parentheses, then its new name should correspond to it first in the next set of parentheses, right? And trunk appears second, so I should write the new variable name for truck after I've written the new variable name for rep 78, right? So just make sure the two parentheses, the old and new variable names correspond to each other. Whatever variable name you're writing first, make sure in the next set of parentheses you first write the new name for it, right? That's just something you have to be careful about. So here I wanted to rename rep 78 as repair underscore record, so I'll write that. I wanted to rename trunk as trunk underscore space, we'll write that, right? So we can just do it like this, and over here we'll see the names have changed, right? This is now repair record and trunk space. Now another thing you want to see is what if you want to change a variable name to upper, lower, or proper case. So we can do that by using the option upper, lower, or proper, but we don't give any variable name. For example, what we do is if you wanted to convert all variable names into proper, in proper you want the first word to be the first letter of a word to be capitalized, and the remaining you want to be in lowercase, right? So in that, what we do is we just write rename, right? We write old variable, right? Old variable name, whatever variable. So we just write not old necessarily, we just write variable there, right? Okay, we can just say rename variable. So basically, we want to rename. So we'll write the variable name here, and then we'll just write proper, upper, or lower. We won't give any new variable name because we don't want to change the variable name. We just want to change the case for it, right? We want to make it upper, lower, or proper. So for that, what we are going to do is, so yeah, sorry. So for that, okay, so you can also do this for all variables in the data set. Okay, so before we do it for all data variables in the data set, let's just look at an example for this. Let's say I wanted to do, let me just write over here, rename. Say I want to make this, let's work with price, right? So rename price, and then we'll just write, say, upper here. So when we write upper here, you'll notice that all the letters in it have been capitalized. If I do lower, right, you will notice that all, oh, sorry, my bad. Oh, okay, so the name has changed. So obviously we need to use the name here. Now we can similarly use lower and it would be fixed, right? So that's how you can work with this, right? So you can, if you want to change a variable name to upper, lower, or proper case, so you can do that by essentially just writing rename, and you write the name of the variable, and then after the comma you write upper, lower, proper. Here obviously we're not changing the variable name, so we don't need to supply any new variable name to it, right? So you can also do this for all variables in the data set, where we can refer to all variables in the data set either using underscore all or asterisk. Say we wanted to do rename, so let's do underscore all, right? This will mean that rename all variables, and say I want to rename all of them upper, so after the comma I'll put upper. All of them have been upper. Now let's change them into proper, right? If we do proper, so we can see the first um, letter is capitalized and the remaining letters are lowercase, right? And if I do lower, so we can do it like this. So in this way, we can obviously change variable names to upper lower proper case. You will still use rename, but now you are not going to supply it any new name. We don't want to change the name. We just want to change it to upper lower or proper case. So rename, you write your variable name and then comma proper. And you can also do this for all the variables in the data set using underscore all or asterisk, right? We know underscore all or asterisk refers to all variables in the data set. So now some common naming conventions for variables are some separate words using an underscore, like we did over here, right? But you can have multiple words in a name, right? Like we had repair record here, we separated it using an underscore. We had make model, we separated it using an underscore. We separated trunk space using an underscore. Chicken and some what they do is they capitalize each word. Like for example, after the first like trunk space, similarly we could have written repair record as this, right? We could have done it repair and then it would have been record, right? We could have done it like this. Similarly, make model, we could have written like this, right? So again, these are just different naming conventions. You can either use underscores to separate different words in a name, or you can capitalize each word. So either way works. And in the next part, we'll look at how do we remove and add prefixes and suffixes to variable names using wildcards.